easier and more welcoming for everyone. During May Bike Month, we honor those who lead the way in creating more bike-friendly Columbia Heights and encourage residents to take part, whether through group rides, helmet fittings, safety workshops, or simply enjoying a ride around the neighborhood. Every mile pedaled contributes to cleaner air, healthier bodies, and a stronger, more connected Kauai.
Now, therefore, I, Amada Marcus Simula, Mayor of Columbia Heights, do hereby proclaim May as Bike Month in the city of Columbia Heights. I encourage all residents to celebrate the joy of biking, explore our community on two wheels, and support a safer, greener, and more vibrant future for all. In Columbia Heights, we celebrate culture, community, and connection. We honor the diversity of our residents and the traditions they bring. Let this proclamation reflect our ongoing commitment to belonging, equity, and shared joy in our city. And this evening, we have Daniel Abibo to receive the proclamation of past Columbia Heights graduate. And why don't you come on up, and we're going to do a photo with you as well. Yeah, all day. I get to do this. Good to see you.
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, first off, before I start, I'd like to compliment on Christian's words. Christian was a past student of mine in Columbia Heights, or like not a student, but he was a fellow classmate of mine when I was a senior at Columbia Heights. He's also in band with me, also plays the trombone. And he was such an inspiration. He also was in student council as well. And just seeing an upcoming freshman like himself, it was really inspiring to see how much he's been growing and what he's received today. So continuing on, I'd like to speak on something that has been a long-term issue in Columbia Heights. So for almost everything in this world, you simply cannot pave the trail in the direction you want it to go. And before I begin, I'd like to thank Mayor Amada and the City Council for sharing this proclamation with me, and Amada's initiative since last November and making this possible today. Our leaders here in Minnesota and across the nation often cannot adapt to what is actually right. And as one person standing here, I cannot force that. No one can. But pressure can. So when a pipe bursts, you don't negotiate with it. You don't ask it politely to stop bursting. You apply pressure, and the pipe closes. On January 23rd of this year, thousands of ordinary Minnesotans marched on the streets outside in negative 40-degree temperatures right here in the cities. This wasn't a formally organized event initiated by those in power. It was a raw, undeniable call to action that wasn't possible in any other way. They applied pressure, so much in fact that the entire nation felt it. My name is Daniel Biba. I grew up in Columbia Heights my whole life, and I'm a recent graduate of Columbia Heights High School. I'm standing here today because I believe this city, our city, is ready to apply that same pressure to something that has been quietly hurting us for over 100 years. I want to tell you something about the city that most people in this room already know, but rarely say aloud. Columbia Heights was not built for the people who live here now. Its road designs was sparked in the late 1800s, then in the mid-1900s during World War II. Columbia Heights experienced an auto explosion to move factory workers in and out of defense plants as quickly as possible, and were strongly defined in the post as well for industrial growth and commuter transit. Its infrastructure assumed everyone would drive everywhere. It assumed a certain kind of resident who owned a car, who didn't need a sidewalk, would live or wouldn't even begin to think of biking or even walking as a form of commute. I'm not that resident. From my freshman year of high school throughout graduation, I biked these streets almost every single day, whether it was to school, to practice, to the store, at 4 in the morning during a blizzard, or just in every spark that was constantly against me. Or to randomly decide to bike 100 miles on a broken mountain bike the same week as my AP exams. Because I felt a need to make a statement that no one else was taking action upon. I know Columbia Heights like the back of my hand. I know every shoulder that disappears into nothing, every intersection where you hold your breath, the shoulders where cars are speeding by you just a foot away from your handlebars. I know the specific stretch of road where I had to throw my bike into the grass because a car drifted onto the shoulder and didn't see me. During my freshman year, as a 14-year-old boy, I thought that was just a normal risk from biking here. I thought that's just what biking in Columbia Heights felt like, and that it would improve with time. It did the exact opposite. During the winter of my sophomore year of high school, I was biking home from practice on my usual route during peak traffic hours. Before I even left school grounds, I was sideswiped and knocked down on the pavement by a speeding car due to non-existent shoulders. Not even 2 minutes later, I was cut off by a distracted driver and had nowhere to pull off the road, not even a sidewalk, and proceeded to get flung off my bike. I proceeded to pick up my bike and continue commuting home, and not even a minute later, I was riding the usual narrow and littered shoulder when an oncoming car swerved in my direction, forcing me off the road into a ditch where I was partially impaled by a branch. Next thing I know, I was screaming in pain. I remember seeing 20 cars pass despite my 15-year-old self. Next thing I would know, I was in a hospital bed, covered in tourniquets. All this occurred during one 6-minute window from a ride from school, a commute that was only supposed to take 8 minutes. A friend of mine, back in 2019, published, his name is Jack Israelson, some of you may know him, published an article in 2023, or in 2023, on what most of us already knew, that Columbia Heights has exactly one bike lane, only one, on Reservoir Boulevard. With paint lines and pavement quality so deteriorated, it feels like you're mountain biking. Meanwhile, nearby cities like Richfield has implemented over 24 infrastructure improvements or for pedestrian and cyclist safety. 24. We have one. Central Avenue and Highway 65 run through the heart of this city, like a wound that never healed. MnDOT designates it as a high injury network. Speed-related fatalities on that corridor account for 50 to 65% of all accidents. Nationally, that number is 29%. We are not a national statistic. We are more than twice as dangerous, the national average. This didn't happen by accident. It happened by design. A century-old design that was never updated because updating is supposedly hard and expensive and inconvenient, and people resist change, especially when the people most affected don't always have the loudest voices in the rooms, like this one. This past year, I watched something happen in Columbia Heights I will never forget. I watched neighbors, people I grew up with, students I grew up with, my friends, and people who walk the same streets become afraid to even leave their homes. Not because of a pothole, not because of a missing crosswalk, but the street itself has become a place where you could disappear, just like that. We talk about safe streets like it's a traffic issue, like it's about bike lanes and signal timing and speed limits. And it is, but safety is bigger than infrastructure. A street is only safe when every person walking it believes they have the right to be there. Columbia Heights has always been a city of people who were told in one way or another that they didn't quite belong, told by the design of the roads, told by the absence of sidewalks, told by silence from people from the power to change things. This bike proclamation means something to me, not just because I rode these streets. It means something because riding them was an act of belonging, of saying, I am here, and this city is mine too. So what do I want this council to do? I want roundabouts on Central Avenue. Mayor Marquez told me herself roundabouts reduce commuting time and make roads safer. The data is there. The will needs to follow. I want protected pedestrian and bicycle pathways separated from traffic by boulevards, not painted lines, not suggestions, but physical separation that tells every person on a bike or on foot, as they are as legitimate as any car on that road. I want improved signals and shorter crosswalks, the kinds that don't make you sprint across 6 lanes hoping someone stops. And these things cost money. I will be open about that. Curve extensions run about $5,000 each. Full intersection upgrades, around $100,000. Continuous boulevards cost even more. But Safe Streets for All grants exist. Safe routes to school funding exist. MnDOT programs exist. The money can be found when there's a will there to find it. Money does not define where you need to, does not define or overweigh safety. The 40th Avenue pop-up park showed this community what a reimagined street could feel like. Minneapolis' complete street corridors showed what is possible when a city and a people decides its people matter more than traffic speed. We have proof. We have precedent. We have a mayor who understands this. We have a council that understands this. What we need now is for the council to decide loudly, formally, and on the record that Columbia Heights is done waiting. I'm 18 years old, and I'm the first person to receive this proclamation, and I didn't earn that distinction by doing something extraordinary. I earned it by doing something ordinary, just by riding my bike through a city that made it harder than it needed to be, and refusing to stop. There are children in Columbia Heights right now who will bike to school on Monday mornings on roads that have never changed since their grandparents were students. There are elderly people who won't cross Central Avenue because they know it isn't safe. There are people in this city who love it the way I love it, completely, stubbornly, despite everything, and who deserve better than what we've given them. I'm not here to receive a certificate. I'm here to ask this council to make a genuine, long-term promise, not to me, but to them, to their parents who are afraid to let their kids bike to school, let alone walk, to the manual commuters afraid to leave during rush hour, to small business owners who get no foot traffic, to drivers afraid to commute to work, and those who demand change, because that's what pressure does. It doesn't ask and it doesn't negotiate. It simply just closes the pipe. Thank you.
I don't know if you can possibly speak to the same level as Daniel, but we'd love to hear from you. Hard act to follow.
Yeah, I've known Daniel as his SRO, and he's a great kid and a great speaker. Nice job. Congratulations. Also want to acknowledge the recipients of the awards this evening. But basically, on behalf of the Ramsdell family, Madam Mayor and members of the council, distinguished guests, I want to thank you for the acknowledgement and proclamation tonight. There have been 314 total law enforcement officers killed in Minnesota, and the thousands you mentioned. And I just want to thank you for acknowledging them this week. Thank you.
Thank you.